Hey everybody, welcome to Talking Shit. Today you got your boy, the Sophisticated Jerk. We got CLS in here, Amazing in here, drinking beers and stuff, and we got KC Fred. Hold up that can one more time, Amazing. We got to analyze that. We gotta make sure, man.
Okay. Welch's grape. No, this is black cherry.
Okay. That did look like a beer for a second. All right, you good, man?
Either beer or Welch's grape.
All right, let me go ahead and pull up them slides. All right, give me 1 second. Let me make this bigger. Got them bad eyes coming. So, all right, today we're going to be reviewing Rebel Moon Part 2, The Scargiver. So, Rebel Moon Part 2, The Scargiver is a 2024 American epic space opera film directed by Zack Snyder from a screenplay he co-wrote with Kurt Johnstad and Shay Hatton. All right, the summary for this is Korra and surviving warriors prepare to defend Velt, their new home, alongside its people against the realm. The warriors face their past, revealing their motivations before the realm's forces arrive to crush the growing rebellion. I might have to fire Manic, man. I did that kind of smooth. No, I'm joking. All right, now for the directors and producers. Directed by, again, Zack Snyder. Written by Zack Snyder. Zack done did everything in this movie. Produced by Deborah Snyder, Eric Newman, Zack Snyder, and Wesley Collar. Yeah, Zack was like, look, man, I'm putting my name on everything.
Well, you know, he did the Superman movies and, you know, all the DC stuff.
Oh, okay. Yeah, he's like, look, he might as well gave himself a role in a movie.
Yeah.
All right, the cast for this is Sophia Botella as Korra. How you say her homeboy's name? Titus.
Titus. Digimon Hanso?
Digimon Hansu. Okay.
Yeah, I always fuck his name up too. But I know who he is.
My man. We should just call him DJ. He need to sum that up. I stay butchering his name. But he be in a ton of movies, man.
You just call him Amistad. You remember he was in Amistad? That was the first movie I saw him in. Was Amistad. Wasn't it?
Yeah, he was also in Gladiator.
He's a slave. Yeah. He was in Amistad. I mean, he was in. I think he was in that movie Constantine too. Wasn't he in Constantine with
yeah. He was man. He's been in a lot of stuff. He's always some like warrior or some shit.
Blood Diamond.
Then we got
remember Blood Diamond.
Yeah, that's right.
Hey, don't
forget my man stayed playing some slaves.
Don't forget Shazam.
Yeah. Was he?
That's right.
Was he in it?
Yeah. He said, "What's my name?"
You talking about that Shaq movie?
Yeah, he been playing on him.
No, Shazam, the one with the kids.
Oh, the superhero. Like he was like they're like the superhero costumes or whatever.
Yeah.
I haven't watched it yet.
Yeah, that one.
I haven't watched it yet.
My man said a Shaq movie.
Yeah, I thought you said Shazam. Remember he was like, wasn't he like a genie or whatever? Remember Shaq was like a big ass genie?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, he was.
That's what I thought he was. I said, is he talking about that one? The Shaq movie? Okay. I've been watching old movies.
All right. So we got Ed Skrein as Atticus Noble, Michael Huseman as Gunner, Duna Bay as Nemesis, Ray Fisher as Darian Bloodaxe, Anthony Hopkins as the voice of JC 1435,
Jimmy
Stasnair as Turok, Fra Free as Balasarius, and Cleopatra Coleman as Devra. So, all right, man, we're going to the rating slide, and we're going to start with KC Fred first. We're going to work our way up. Fred, what's your rating for this movie?
Actually, I enjoyed the action, so I gave it an 8.
Okay. KC Fred with the 8 on this one. All right, Amazing. What's your rating for this movie?
I've been going right like between a 7.5 and an 8, so I'll do a 7.8 for now.
You said a 7.8? All right. CLS, what's your rating for this movie?
I give it an 8.
Okay. And I got my man Wally in here. Wally, what's your rating for this movie?
Oh man. Yeah, I'll give it 8 for right now.
8.
Okay. Yeah, I'm gonna give it an 8.5, man. I really like this one. You know, after that like flop, y'all
he had to bring a bowl. He had to bring a bowl. You just can't let this walk. You can't let it walk.
So all right, I'll go ahead and start it off since I had the highest. So man, I gave it an 8.5, man, because I thought it was a good continuation from I'll say the last series. It was completely different because sometimes I think when they do like part twos, man, the story don't really connect. So I like how it kind of continued on. Definitely gonna be a part 3. So I just like how they connecting all the series together, and they have like the different characters and stuff like that. And then I think a lot of times movies get cheesy where they try to make sure everybody survives and stuff. So I think they did a good job of like showing some of them losses. And when I know we're gonna get into it deeper, when we start breaking it down. But yeah, I think it's just a pretty good storyline, and I definitely like the action and the galaxy type stuff. So I think it's a good mix of like sci-fi, action figures, action, and all that. So all right, I'll go ahead toss it to Wally for why'd you give it that rating?
I think pretty much the same value. It was pretty solid this time around. The action was pretty up there. I think the big hitter was for me was like, even though that they were gonna battle it out, I think it was like that moment right when she was gonna when Korra was gonna hit the switch and be like, okay, you know what? Now that I think about it, you know what? No. Let me just surrender. Let me just surrender because I ain't gonna lie. The chances between farmers and then actual, assassins, okay, we all know how this is gonna go.
Yeah.
So I was like, all right.
Some 300 shit right there.
Yeah, so I was like, yeah, you know what? But then it's like, right that moment, the moment she was about to be like, next thing you know, right there popped out of nowhere. And then next thing you know, boom, I'm like, oh. Yeah. I might not have a chance. I was like, okay, yeah, this is gonna get fun. So I think one thing's for sure is the action definitely popped up way more higher once they got on to the ship. So just to throw that in there a little bit. But yeah, this was pretty mighty. But as we all know, the biggest hitter was the robot. So yeah.
Oh yeah, Jimmy. Yeah, Jimmy. Yep. That's what I was telling Fred. I was giving Fred his flowers. He said it. I give Fred his flowers.
All right, go ahead, CLS. Why'd you give it your rating?
Pretty much the same thing y'all said. I mean, when the action picked up, you know what I mean? It was pretty good. I was into it. I mean, in the beginning, it kind of, I guess the pace in the beginning, it kind of started out slow. It was just a lot of talking. I guess a lot of dialogue. I was kind of bored with that. Korra and what's his name, Gunner. They said pillow talking and all that shit. Like, I mean, I was bored with all that. But remember she was pillow talking and she was telling that story how she used to be a guard for the princess and all that.
Yeah,
she was a bodyguard.
So my man was pillow talking, huh?
They were pillow talking. It just smashed. I mean, there's pillow
talking. It might be pillow talking, but it's important information. It's more into the dialogue.
Oh no, it was good information. I'm not saying it wasn't good information. I watched it. I had to watch it a second time just to catch everything. Let me watch this scene one more time. When the royal family got slaughtered and all that, you can kind of tell that Princess Issa. You can tell she had like some kind of like special powers or something. You know what I mean? You started like
they said that she had special gifts. We just don't know how deep the gifts are.
Right, not yet.
Because towards the end of that whole battle, when General Titus explained something, like I was like, wait, what?
Yep.
I'm like, yeah, okay, y'all holding out.
But then I also read online. They already said online was it Zack Snyder and all them. They already said they're already writing a part 3. They said it's gonna be it could be anywhere from 4 to 6 parts. It just depends on the next film.
I would bet because there ain't no way.
They said they can take one more movie and just cut it into 2 parts, so it might be like 5 or 6 parts.
Yeah.
So I don't know, man. That's a lot.
This is up there. This is literally up there. I mean, come on. We don't even know where Buddy is.
Yeah, but since you brought it up, this could have been a very short film because remember what was his name, Noble. Remember when he realized Korra was on the ship? He was just like, "Well, we can just nuke this whole village." He just wanted her. He just wanted her. He was like, "Fuck the grain." He said, "What about the soldiers still down there? Fuck them too. Less mouths to feed." You know what I mean? Like, yeah. He's like, "Fuck them and fuck the grain."
Knowing them, they could have just blast another planet, just pick up new soldiers because that's what they
exactly. That's less mouths to feed right there. He said, "Man, fuck them in that grain."
But all right, let me get Casey Fred in here. Casey, why'd you give it the rating you did?
I gave this reason why I gave this the rating 8 is I I feel like the last movie was more of character development. You want to be able to find out where they came from and what they were all about and where they were at, you know. And then in this movie, it was like, okay, it's like having an all-star basketball team. It's like, okay, we got all the players, but can they actually have chemistry and work together to be able to pull this off? And we found out actually they can. And they did, and it was really successful. You guys were talking about that pillow talk, but wasn't it very funny that same pillow talk, I thought, man, they doing all this talking, but I knew right then and there Gunner was going to die.
I was hoping he died.
So you just kind of felt that coming. It was almost like it was foreshadowing type of thing, you know. Only for the simple fact, if you remember correctly, in the very first movie, Cora said that when she was a soldier, they almost like they assigned you somebody. So you was in twos, and so she had a boyfriend there, and he died in her arms. And then here it is in this movie, Gunner ends up dying. Where? In her arms again. So I just kind of thought that was a little ironic. But it felt like in this movie, we was really more interested in the villain and what happened to him, because it was kind of like a cliffhanger. You know, is he going to live? Is he going to die? Is he going to resurrect? How are they going to get him back? And so in this movie here, he does resurrect. He does come back, and he calls her the Scargiver, and he's ready to go ahead and like CLS said, he don't care about the people, he don't care about the grain, he don't care about the planet.
He just wanted her, bro. He just wanted her.
Yeah, he's like, look, I'm gonna get that bribe, or he's like, I'm gonna get that prestige if I bring her in.
Damn right.
But I do think like that was a good. I like what Fred pointed out. Matter of fact, we'll get to that later because I like that scene you said. You still got more, Fred?
No, I just felt like it was more of, we knew more this time about the villain and who they were compared to who the heroes were in this one. So because of that, I kind of like, it was a switch, because before we were learning and character development was all about the heroes and trying to find out who they were and where they came from and why they were doing what they do. So
yeah, that's a good point.
It was really cool that they actually could work together. It was, I don't know, it reminded me of Justice League too. You know, you got everybody that has different, you know, weapons, different, you know, skill sets, but at the end of the day, they were still able to come together and be able to do that.
Same director. Because you know he directed all that DC stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Same. And you can feel that in the movie too as well. So.
And can I add on this, what Fred said? Is something that he said.
Yeah,
That's going to make this. I bet you when part 3 come on, watch, Cora's going to be pregnant with Gunner's baby. Watch. Watch. Just watch.
Oh, don't you dare. Don't you dare.
That's my prediction. She's going to be pregnant with his baby. Watch.
Oh, right. Man, you know what?
Probably so, man. Like,
watch.
I didn't know contraceptives in that village.
Exactly. You see him. You see him put a green condom on. No.
This guy right here.
Gunner ain't wrap up nothing. He just like, man, I'm embarrassed. There ain't no condoms out in this field.
But all right, we'll go to Get Amazing's. Why did you give it that rating? You're on mute.
Sorry, I liked the mix between like the action sci-fi, but still had like the little like love story between Gunner and Cora. I also like the visuals, so I thought the scenery was really good. So that's why.
Okay. All right, Manic.
I don't
and Amazing, your mic is coming in a little low. But go ahead, Manic. First of all, what's your rating?
I gave this one a solid 8.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's what everybody pretty much gave it. I gave it an 8.5, you know. Since I was lagging in the last movie that you guys were all delusional about, but
he's bringing up this old stuff. You gotta let it go. You better let it go.
Since we were talking about that, Otto, what was your? I gave him your rating, but you gave it a straight up 10.
A straight up 10, yeah.
Oh yeah. Okay.
Do you even watch movies anymore?
Bro, I almost shed a tear.
Yeah, I tried to tell him, bro. Yo, I tried to tell
You
him,
said
man.
almost though, right?
Yeah. I
Then
got
I realized I was a man. And I held that shit in.
Nah, no, you didn't.
Nah,
I got choked up a little bit. You got choked up a
CLS
little
was
bit.
getting excited because he definitely he said he teared up, man. He was in a fetal position.
I don't know what the fetal position. Nah. Yeah, he got choked up a little
Lord
bit.
have
Got choked up a
mercy.
little bit.
There's no
I
He
was
said he
like,
slept under the bed. He was like he held like his pillow. He had one of the very long ones that you could contort like it's like a human being.
I was like Carl Thomas. I got a little emotional, you know.
And
Okay.
I think if you're a decent human being,
Yeah.
aka everybody up here, except for the
see,
Yeah.
this is the mean
jerk, like
part.
you choked up a little bit.
Right.
Like, come on.
Dude,
Off
man,
of a comedy.
Oh man,
Dude,
That was a comedy. That was more of a
Dude.
drama.
I'm just saying that
Hey.
that heartfelt shit, man. I'm telling you, dude, I cried in Rocky 3 when Mickey died, bro.
yo,
I really
It was
did,
time for
yo.
him to go.
Yeah, when he died, man, I cried when Mickey died, bro. Like when Rocky was in there, he was wailing, he was screaming and shit.
listen, CLS. I may have taken a moment of silence and not ate a chip, but I still was eating during the movie. Okay, that's all I'm trying to say.
Oh, you talking about the other one? Are you talking about Rocky? Or are you talking about?
I'm talking about Otto.
Auto movie? Auto movie. Oh, okay. Well, I mean, hit everybody differently. That's all. That's cool.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Shout out to y'all, sensitive males. I mean,
See this?
But-
I'm sensitive, bro. I'm sensitive. I be sensitive then. I guess I'm sensitive then.
Hey, bro, your
There's
number
nothing wrong
did
with
come
it.
up, though. Your number did come
in life
up.
today, we need a little bit of everything, man. No, I'm joking. So go ahead, man. Why did you give it an 8?
I gave this one an 8 because it was a good movie. The special effects were really good. It was predictable as hell. So it was just like
Yeah.
it was so predictable. I was like saying the lines before the actors were saying the lines.
Mm-hmm.
Like, especially the part is like, she's like, "You weren't scared of death? Then what were you scared of?" I was like, "Losing you." And he was like, "It was you." I was like, "Oh, okay." I was a little bit off. And the very next line was, "It was losing you." I was like, "Oh, I was spot on."
He's a fucking
How cliche.
He's a damn
No.
simp. So-
Exactly. And then right before the next scene, I was just like, man, if homie don't smash.
Yeah.
And then like literally the next scene, he's laying in bed with her. And
Yeah.
I'm just like, okay. They redeemed my man a little bit. At least like, he's spent a little bit of game.
Dude,
And I was like, that's realistic.
Look
then
around
I
the
had to,
farm. It's not like he had much. It's not like he had much competition around the farm anyway, right?
Yeah, I mean,
he had no
that's an easy
competition.
he saved her life. Like,
He
my
did.
man definitely deserved the cheeks after that.
Oh yeah, he deserved the cheeks. Yeah.
But even after that, like, I thought it was hilarious because I was like, this is actually like real life. This part right here where he's just like, after he smashes, he's just like, so why are they after you again? Like, it's like now he wants to know her history. Like,
Now he wanna
how
know.
bad were you actually? Because this is a whole army. Like, they was all after you. Like, they didn't care about the rest of us. You must have did some serious shit.
Mhm.
And she's like, "Oh yeah, I did." And then she tells the story how she like did all the stuff, and then she killed the little girl. And we're just like, "Oh dang, that's pretty dark." Then he's just
Mhm.
like, "Okay, you ready for round 2?"
Mhm.
My man didn't even care.
He's ready to double back. Yeah, right.
Yeah, he was like, "Oh, okay, that's cool.
That's cool.
What's your body count now?"
Mhm.
He's like,
Yeah.
"Yeah, so turn over."
Yeah,
It's
right.
like,
Ain't no
she
So,
literally
ain't no
started
pulling
the
out in this
revolution.
village.
But all right, we'll go ahead and jump into the questions now. Let me pull this back up. So, all right, would you recommend this movie and would you watch this again? I'll start with you. I'll start with myself on this one. Yes and yes. Start next you, Casey, Fred.
Definitely yes and yes.
All right, CLS.
Yes and yes.
My man Wally.
Yes and yes.
All right, the Manic Genius.
Yes and no.
So you want to watch it with anyone?
No, you say you wouldn't watch it again.
Oh, you
Yeah,
want to
we'll
watch it
watch it again.
again? Oh, okay. You
Yeah.
watch it with someone. Okay, gotcha.
Yeah.
All right, amazing.
Both yeses for me.
All right. So, what did you think about the plot of the storyline? I'm going to Wally first on this one.
Oh, yeah, he could go with me this one. Oh man, what do I think about the plot and storyline? Yeah, I think this was pretty solid, just like the last one. I think the big major one is looking at where. What was I looking at?
I thought you were froze for a minute. I was like, what?
No, I'm literally looking at the screen.
Yeah.
No, I was literally looking at the screen. I mean, I don't know if I froze on your end, but I was literally looking at the screen.
Yeah, you froze.
But okay, well, sorry, but yeah, nah. But the storyline was pretty solid. The biggest part of the storyline was for me was when they end up seeing back the general again, the commander, and knowing that he was not finished the way that you thought he was, and y'all making so much comments all that time for you. So pretty much when he came back thinking that they offed him, when in reality you didn't really off him. You probably seen him fade away, but you didn't really see him off. Mm-hmm. This is why you always know you make sure you finish the damn job, which in this movie this time around they definitely finished the job by slicing his head off. But
they didn't even show it.
I know they didn't.
They showed his body being caught up, and then but you can just tell his body was caught, and then they sliced his head off.
Can I ask y'all one question before you continue on? I didn't mean to cut you off. Just ask y'all one question. When you guys were watching the film, did you have the subtitles on?
Yeah.
Or did you turn it off?
I turned it off.
The reason I'm asking
wait, Casey Fred, were your subtitles in English this time?
Oh, it was man! I saw the whole movie this time.
No, the only reason I asked was because that part, like the part you're talking about when they're on the ship, when Cora slices the head off, it just shows like in the caption, it shows the words where it's like swoosh, but that's it. But they don't show anything.
Yeah. Yeah, but you can just picture it out. Like
I want to see him die. I wanted to see his head.
I mean, yeah, I think that's the only thing that I do believe that was like a sort of a plot fail, because it's like, really, I mean, we're just gonna just see you just swing sword. Okay,
yeah. Might bring him back in 3.
Yeah, I mean, why?
No. That whole shit explode. No.
Yeah,
no.
If shit blew up.
That man again,
exploded. Yeah,
I'm done. I'm so done.
What is he, a fucking cat? They keep bringing him back.
You can't be serious.
I mean,
he's scrap metal.
Yeah.
And plus the shit scrap metal on that planet. So
didn't
if
he
they come back,
didn't
they
he get
pretty
stabbed or shot in the first one though, and then fell to like the like
yeah.
from,
yeah.
Like,
he got started. Yeah, he got stabbed, and then after that they picked him up from the waters after they saw him resurface. Then they pretty much did all that.
Well, he fell from a platform onto rocks.
Yeah, he was dead.
Yeah, he was dead. So it's just like he really shouldn't have been in 2, but
really,
if they bring him in 3, it's like we have to wait for his body to recharge for his head.
Yeah, I mean, like, it would make no sense.
They mess around, bring him back for 3. I won't watch it. I'm done at that point.
I won't watch it either.
Or JC 1435, because didn't he say he used to be a soldier?
Oh yeah, Jimmy. Oh yeah, the mechanical soldier. Yeah, it's Fred boy right there.
But all right, let me go ahead and I'll get CLS. What did you think about the plot of the storyline?
I thought it was good. I mean, like Manic said, I mean, like it was a little predictable, but I thought it was still entertaining to watch, especially like when the battle started, when it kicked off. And I thought, what was it the General Titus? I thought he had a good battle strategy. How they was taking the grain inside and just planting it all around the village, around like the little huts and all that. The buildings, the huts, whatever you want to call it. And just spreading the grain out so that it's okay. Well, they won't nuke us all because they want this grain. Well, initially they wanted it, but the Core's on the ship. He was just like, man, we don't need that. We don't need them. I got what I wanted. But the fight, I thought, the fight and everything was good. And, you know what? You know what my favorite part was? When they were sitting at the dinner table, and Titus was like, he wants everybody to confess, like tell their truth. And then they started telling their stories, and they were showing flashbacks of their previous life.
Yeah.
That was my favorite part.
All right, let me get KC Fred in here. What did you think about the plot of the storyline?
I thought it was really good. I mean, it just immediately, as soon as the movie started, it just picked up right where it left off. And like I said, it was you knowing and then literally taking the time to find out more about the villain and what happened to him. Because that was the biggest cliffhanger, really, I felt like, from the last movie. And then for them to be able to all the heroes from the last movie to be able to come together and say, hey, okay, in order for us to be able to work this out and achieve our highest goal, we have to be able to have that chemistry and work together. And I thought that was really cool, that they actually came back because, when I really think about it, I mean, they're all kind of like superheroes, like we were talking about with the DC comics and stuff like that. A lot of times people don't help common folks, not to mention farmers, where they really not going to be able to do that much for you. And when you and when you noticed the fight was going on, that was a true statement because there was the ones that was dying, like they're the ones that was getting killed. So in a sense, they were like little ants, so to speak, all these lasers and guns and stuff firing, and the hero still standing there shooting, but everybody behind him is still, going down flat. So you knew what time it was. But I just thought it was interesting. And then they showed how massive this army was, because every time they thought that they had got rid of the first layer of guys, here comes another one, which kind of reminds me of 300 too. In fact, now that I think about it, actually, a lot of the scenes in there, I felt like he was pulling from other places. That might be one of the reasons why I felt like I couldn't get the number higher than 8, because it just reminded you of other movies and other scenes that you had seen. Because I remember 300 just popping up in my head every time they would kill off some guys, like when they were at the bridge and they thought that, and then next thing through the fog, here comes another layer of people in a machine that they never really saw before or whatever coming at them and stuff. So, but you could just tell that it was non-ending, and then for them to be able to come there, and like I said, I have to agree with Manny. Some of that stuff was already foreshadowing. Like I just knew Gunner was going to die, and it was just because of that, the way they did the last movie. Her partner, Cora's partner in that, even when she had a lover before, he died right in her arms. So you just knew that was coming. I kind of thought, and this is just my personal opinion, I didn't know that Nemesis was going to die.
Yeah.
So that kind of threw me for a loop. I really thought that out of all of them, I just love the way her swords light up and stuff. And I thought she would be able to go to the next movie. So I was kind of sad, to be honest with you, about that. But other than that, I really, the main story is about Cora in this villain, and she keeps calling that other villain her dad. So we can't wait to find out, what that's all about. And then this little girl that she's been saving, but then at the end she had to supposedly kill her, and Titus let her know that she's still alive. And so that just let you know that the movie was going to continue, which I'm really curious about that too. Because if you shoot somebody and you think you killed them, how's she gonna feel when she finally sees her? And she's got special powers herself. So I'm kind of curious how that's gonna all go down too. So it kind of left you wanting more, which is what most good action movies do. So I was really happy about that as well. So, but yeah.
All right, let me get amazing on there. What did you think about the plot or the storyline?
I liked it. I thought it was a good transition from the first movie to the second movie. And I liked the way it just like the whole thing kind of started with looking off into the village. I think this wasn't the JC, the robot guy, looking like right away. So I liked that scene. And then I did like the way that there was kind of going back and forth. So you could kind of see a little bit more history into Cora's past. I agree to a point. I thought a lot of it was predictable, but I thought there was enough scenes to make it not predictable. Specifically the Nemesis. I didn't expect her to die at all. In this one anyways. So I thought a couple things that were just more unexpected than expected.
Okay. The Manic Genius. What did you think about the plot of the storyline?
I thought the plot was solid. Definitely felt like this was a transition movie into the third one where they're really gonna, now they have like the all-star cast, everybody's on a team, and definitely I'm gonna expect some more dying of like main characters, maybe even Cora to just like conclude it all. I wouldn't not expect that. But just how this movie has been like very predictable. I think Cora will probably die and she'll save the little girl, and there'll be somebody part of the resistance that stays alive. Um, maybe Titus. Nah, he'll probably die too. Um, but it was a good plot, and the storyline, it didn't feel too choppy, and it actually explained a lot. I felt like the first movie, it kind of just brushed over everybody's past, and this second movie really highlighted that, especially that dinner, table scene where everybody gets a chance to really talk about like, why they feel the way they feel about the whole situation. And to Amazing's point, this movie started off really good with the short amount of time they literally gave a full recap of Rebel Moon 1, which was super helpful. I actually watched a recap, like a 8-minute recap of Rebel Moon 1, but I have to do that with most movies on part twos, but this was actually a movie I didn't have to do that for because that recap that they gave in the beginning was perfect, spot on, highlighted the main points that you really need to like focus on and really need to know to like the dude Blood Axe wasn't even mentioned. Like it's just like, yeah, they got ambushed and the warriors became victorious. And it's just like, dang, Blood Axe wasn't victorious. That dude joined the resist or joined their group and literally died the next scene. And he didn't spill no blood. Dude was all brolic for no reason.
Pretty pointless.
Yeah, he was super pointless. But the plot was good. The storyline matched up. So I thought both were very solid and entertaining.
All right, for me, I definitely like the storyline, and the reason I liked it, man, because I think it had like a modern message in there, and I think a lot of y'all missed that message. Where it's like Cora can't keep a man, and if Frederick was Fred was Casey Fred kind of hit on it, man. So it's just like I like how they highlighted that because they're like, hey, man, she's a wild child, can't keep a guy. So I really like how they kind of capture that in the storyline. And like in a futuristic setting, but yeah, she's toxic. But now, other than that, I think I did like the storyline. I like what Manic was saying, how they did the recap, because everybody's all celebrating. They all hyped. They're like, "Hey, we got so and so." Then all of a sudden, the one soldier, he's like, "They gonna be here in five days, and they want that grain. Yeah, y'all better get to work." So I just like how it kind of just picked up from there, where it's just like, okay, everybody just, hey, we gotta fight now because we done did all that stuff and they still here, so everybody like line up and go. We gotta go to war, pretty much. So I definitely like how they use this story to set up the next one, because like I said, a lot of times when they try to like have like especially 3 parts, they just don't connect really and stuff, and it just gets too far-fetched, where I think this one fit a lot better than most movies I see that got like 3 parts and more. But all right, we'll go ahead and go into the scenes of what performances stuck out. So I'll go to Manic Genius first on this one.
That one scene that I kind of mentioned already where he's like, I didn't want to lose you, and then homie smashed. That was like a cool scene because I was like, that's realistic. You don't save somebody's life like that, and with ulterior motives, and not get the buns, because that just so that scene stuck out. The fighting scenes, they all stuck out for different reasons. I felt like the robot, came late. It's just like, dude, if you had all this skill, you should have been on like the front line. Like, come on now. Like, so many people died because the robot was late. And robots have like a clock in them. So it's just like, why were you late? What were you doing that was so important? Like,
And he was
So-
always watching too. That's what. Yeah.
Wait.
Yeah, he was
Waiting.
watching. He's like, oh, everybody's getting slaughtered. Okay, now I finally have to, come out here and help. It's just like, yo, you could have saved a whole lot of people.
You really
if you
could have.
just.
He did
So-
that in the first movie too.
Yeah, he has a problem showing up late. Like,
Yeah.
I don't know if he was.
Hey, he's on that
Put together-
CPT time.
Yeah,
Mm,
I mean, he took out that cannon though. What was it that one
He
cannon they were using?
he took it out easily, but there was another cannon before that he could have took out that was
He could
lighting
have.
that village up.
It was.
yeah, that's true.
So, I mean, my man, I don't know if his moral compass is janky. Like maybe that's why he was part of the package of robots. Like, hey, this one's not as functional. This nigga shows up late.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So,
You know, it's Anthony Hopkins too. You know that.
huh?
Yeah.
The voice,
Yeah.
Anthony Hopkins. Yeah.
Oh yeah,
Hannibal Lecter.
Hannibal
Yeah,
Lecter.
yeah, very proper and whatnot. But
Mhm.
so yeah, that fighting scene stuck out. The one dude with the axes that like I forget his name.
Tariq or something
Tariq,
like that.
yeah.
Mhm.
Like
Tariq.
I felt like he was so pointless. It's just like my man is running around shirtless with axes and everybody else has guns. Like
Mhm.
nobody shot him. Like
Mhm.
he has
Hey.
to get like close hand-to-hand combat, and he doesn't have no armor or anything like that. He's not like
Yeah.
tactical when he moves. He's like, "Ah," just like
Mhm.
nobody can hit a target.
Man, you know who he reminds me of? He reminds me of Aquaman in DC Comics.
Mhm.
But at least Aquaman was like huge and like had special powers, so it's like bullets can bounce off him or something like that. Like
Mhm.
Tariq was just a regular dude who just
Mhm.
decided to go shirtless
Like,
for
way better
everything.
looking than Aquaman.
Mhm.
Yeah, yeah. You said what was that?
I said Tariq was way better looking than Aquaman. Women would rather watch him than Aquaman.
Yeah, Aquaman.
But Aquaman was like a deity. Like Aquaman had like special powers. He could swim. He could
That
breathe
wasn't the
underwater.
point of the scene. It's like when they
Yeah.
have like women going topless for no reason, and the women are like, "What's the point of that?" And the men are like, "Oh my gosh!" So it
Mhm.
added something to the scene.
Nah, he was pointless as hell. There's no connection. You're stretching it. I mean,
Yeah, yeah.
this dude literally left his mom behind.
He did. He did.
He's like, "Mom, I'm out.
He let his mom die. He
Save the kingdom."
jumped right off the building. I wouldn't let my mom jump off a building like that.
Yeah, he was like, "All right, peace." He ain't even shed a tear. He was just like, "Let me get the hell up out of here."
He stood there. He stood there and watched her swan dive. He swan dived off the building.
Yeah, he ain't screaming nothing like, "Mom, no."
He didn't fight
Yeah.
for his kingdom.
I'll turn
He
myself
didn't do
in.
nothing.
He
just
was like,
left.
"Shit, okay, well, I'm going out. I'm peace."
He's like, I'm the last of the bloodline.
Mhm.
Yeah. So, I mean, he was so pointless. I wish he would have died. Because that would have made more sense. Because he really can't do much.
Mhm.
He has 2 axes, and like even when he was doing the axes, like there was like one scene that stuck out. Like the dude with the gun, he was like they're on the bridge. He like dodges the gun like butt, and then he like hits the guy with like the back of the axe and like the lower back. It doesn't pierce the armor or anything, but the guy just falls to the ground, just never gets up. I'm like,
Mhm.
oh, he got like I could have took a blow like that, like with no armor or anything like that. I would have got back up like somehow, a blow to the back, no penetration of the armor. Like dude is knocked out, so it's just like
Nah,
they
you're
got to
tripping.
rethink him.
And
So
so
You would have died in part 1.
nah.
He would've-
And then
Milling
also,
grain and shit.
last,
You-
la-
he would've hit you.
last scene that stuck out. Gunner.
Mhm.
Gunner was the reason for a lot of deaths in part 1.
He was.
The main death of their village leader. He's like, oh, we actually do have extra grain. He's
Yep.
lying.
What was his
Got
name?
him killed.
What was his
Got the
name?
whole
Galen or
village
something?
working
It's Galen,
as
wasn't
like
it?
indentured servants, and then they had to go leave. And then she's just like, Cora's like, oh, okay. And in movie 2, Cora's like, okay, I'll go and sacrifice myself for the village, which makes perfect logical sense. You're one person. This whole village could be spared because they don't really care about this. And she was reluctant to do it, which is crazy. Like after all this that you've done, like you wouldn't want to help all these people who are just like innocent farmers and whatnot. You wouldn't give yourself up. Like shows a lot of self-centeredness. So like to the jerk's point, she's very toxic.
Appreciate that.
And then Gunner gets the gun and shoots the gong. Like so he gets everybody who died in that battle is because of Gunner. So like this dude is responsible for tearing up his village single-handedly.
Mm.
This guy is actually probably worse than with the main villain that they had in part 1 and 2.
The guy with the high and tight. I forgot his name.
Yeah.
Oh,
Because at least the guy with the high and tight, he had an objective. He's like, hey, I'm gonna get this grain. Then he realized, hey, I can possibly capture this chick and get a seat in the Senate. So it's like that was logical. That had purpose. Gunner was just like, I like Korra, so I'm gonna sacrifice my village so I can stay with my shorty. Like, come on, bro.
hey, man.
Like he
He
should
tried
have
to-
volunteered himself to go with her.
He's trying to
They coulda-
upgrade. That was an upgrade for him. Maybe he was getting tired of all that farm pussy. I don't know. You know what I mean? He wanted a soldier.
But still, man, like, yeah. So that scene stuck out. Just Gunner, like, man, he definitely, he did a lot more harm than good.
But all right, let me get amazing in here. What scenes or performances stuck out to you?
I do want to point out, without Korra, there would have been no movies at all because the whole village would have died within like 2 seconds of
Mm-hmm.
movie 1. So
Yeah.
Good point.
Yeah.
The scenes that I really liked were, I liked the scenes between Nemesis and the boy in the village. I felt like that really kind of gave Nemesis just kind of like a stronger character, as like I already liked her character anyways, but I really liked the way they kind of made that connection between the boy and her, especially at the end during that last fighting scene when she ended up dying. I do like the way that they had Scargiver as the title, and then the whole thing was really based around, I mean, not based, but it was a big part his scar, because they could have fixed that in the beginning, but he was like, no, he wanted to keep that. And then let's see, the connection, I think there's definitely going to be a connection between Sam and Princess Isa. At some point, I think there's definitely going to be something there eventually, and I think Korra may die also, but I don't think it would be until like the very last, whatever the last series is. I think that's when it would be. And then Korra cutting her hair, I felt like that was just kind of like symbolic in the way of, I'm going back to the old me for this. So I thought that was kind of a good scene. But when Princess Isa, when she was, when Korra was telling the story, and then Princess Isa had turned and looked at Korra and said, I forgive you, before Korra shot her.
Mm-hmm.
So I do think that will be a good scene when they reunite as well. But I really do feel like Sam is intertwined in that zone.
Okay. All right, Wally. What scenes or performances stuck out to you?
Scenes. So yeah, Nexus. I think her scene was a real good one for me. Honestly, I didn't think her character was gonna die, but then at the same time, looking at the battle and how it was going down, and looking at who she was defending in the herd, I'm like, yeah, you're gonna be out at this point. I was like, yeah, you're gonna be out at this point. I mean, when you looked at it down the line, I think it was like 3 or 4 guys against her alone.
Yeah, she got lumped in with the little kids and shit.
Yeah, so that was pretty. I mean, that on a sad note was sadly obvious. Like, okay, if you're not slicing these dudes down by now, you're gonna be screwed eventually. And apparently that was the case. One of the generals came in real quick and then sliced one of the arms, and I'm like, yeah, this is gonna be over real quick. I was like, screw. I'm like, if it wasn't for that little boy that stepped in real quick against that one general and made that quick decision, and then helped her, to send him off, they would not be lit. They would not be alive right now. So I'll say that. But I do think that was like one of the more sympathetic moments, because it's like when you saw the history of her storyline when Titus asked like what brung us all here, and then you see that history of how she became, why she got metal arms and everything else intuitively, like it was just like, all right, that's like, okay, that's the deeper meaning. And just thinking about like her life and everything else, it sort of seems like why she's so emotionalist now more than ever is because of the simple fact that she's been recreated as a weapon more than anything else for revenge and all that. But in that last briefing moment is like she can actually have some peace with herself, knowing that at least she went out fighting and with a decent cause, right? So, but cliffhanger, I ain't gonna lie, I would believe if they once they do the part 3, I think they do like a yearly jump, and I do think that boy grows up and maybe he might use those swords. I'm calling my shot right now. I'm calling my shot.
I can see that.
Let's see. What else is there? I think the next scene definitely was Titus. That moment when they had that moment right there. I think when Titus was gathering the people, the town peoples, and when he was giving them that nice peace talk as far as we have to do it sooner than ever, more than ever, just getting the people to truly work at a faster pace to get the resources and set his tone. One, he shows why he's a general amongst his people and how he's able to fluently, plan certain things, and how he was already thinking ahead of the game, like doing these certain plans, plant the grains at the main hut, because if they see it there, they won't blast there, which of course, as you know, the commander from the motherland, he noticed this and realized that, and like, yeah, you one clever son of a gun for that. And it was like, all right. So just looking at all those different plots and everything else, it was just very intuitive. But I also think the major scene in there was also when Titus asked for everyone to tell the story. And Titus, he knew, like, straight up, he knew Cora was lying from the jump. He knew everything about Cora. It's like, Cora, you can sit here and lie all you want. I'm the only one that really knows you out here. And I'm like, yeah, because I was like, I ain't gonna lie. Up until that point of this whole story, I'm like, wait, you still choosing a lie? I'm like, having integrity behind. I'm like, it's horrible. You're gonna get everyone murked not knowing the truth. So I'm like, all right. And then towards the end, it's like, now she want to tell the truth, and I'm like, and he comes out there saying, I already know, and I'm like, huh? Wait, what do you mean? What do you mean you already know? I'm like, come on. So now we're gonna get. So I guarantee we're gonna get another flashback moment. There's gonna be a moment between her and Titus where they had that conversation of how he knew, and what does he knows about the young girl that's still possibly alive. Because there has to be something out there. Now I will say this: the one tricky thing that I would be amazed is, and I do think that she is still alive, is here's some of the clues. Think about this, right? Notice that machine, right? When they keep constantly putting the commander through that machine to revise him, to relift him up. I would not be surprised if the little girl's powers are being used some way to generate that thing where it's bringing them back alive. I wouldn't be surprised by that. I wouldn't be surprised.
Okay.
And if you think about it, when Cora put that bomb, notice that that machine, it would look like those eyes being lit up. So I was very like, okay, interesting. So I wouldn't be surprised by that. So that's something that's just pretty much those that stuck out to me. What else was there? What else? Was there anything else that really stuck out? I mean, other than that, it was pretty much Corey just slicing the head off, emphatically slicing the head off of that dude, even though we didn't fully see it, though.
We didn't see it.
Yeah, but either which way, at the end of the damn day, you can put two and two together. He sliced that up. She sliced that out. This time she made sure she put a dent into him and never come back, which honestly, I'll be damned if they do. They better have they better explain this some clone, something else, because if I see him again, I'll be like, all right, you know what? Y'all stretch this.
Yeah, I'm done at that point. But all right, let me get CLS in here.
Well,
what scenes and performances stuck out to you?
Well, Wally and Amazing, they touched on it already. All I can do is just add on to what they said. Like Nemesis was my favorite character, so I was disappointed when her character got killed. But like you said, she was fighting like 4 soldiers, and then that general dude came in there, that real big dude came in there. So she's fighting like 5 dudes by herself, and you got a bunch of, it was like kids, and it was some grown men back there too. Because when that little boy stepped up to help save her, like remember when she was fighting that general dude, that little boy's probably like maybe 11 or 12 years old. It was a grown man behind him. He didn't do shit, but hide in that corner like a little bitch.
Facts.
He did. Did you see? It was little girls over there, but it was men back there too. There's big ass farm dudes. They didn't step up. I was disappointed about that. I said, "Oh, she probably gonna end up dying now."
But that's why I said that moment was sympathetic because it's like
it was
because it's already between her and the little boys. I'm like,
Mhm.
if this could go out, at least it went out like this.
But CLS, to your point, man, it was realistic because there's some dudes who are just soft, like not even just dudes. There's just people who are scared and weak. Like it doesn't matter how big they are or how capable they look. They're like, oh my god, she's a fighter, so let's sit back and hide until she gets killed, and then we'll.
I mean, you are right though. Some men they're just not fighters. They're really not. It's just some women are like that too though. It's just not. They don't have it in them. But sometimes I don't know. In the heat of battle though, man. I mean, sometimes that'll bring it out of you because you don't want to die. You know what I mean? So you could be a very deadly person if you got that fear of dying. So farmers could be very deadly too. Mm-hmm. But not his ass, but in general. But the backstory was cool, man. With her, it was like, I don't know, it was like how she became a soldier and everything after I guess they slaughtered her village, and I don't know, it was like what was it?
A fishing village.
Her bloodlust was unquenchable. she just wanted to kill everybody.
Ooh,
it was. And then and since Wally brought it up, just to add on to what Wally said, since you brought it up, I think here's my prediction. It's gonna like you said, it's gonna be a time jump. And I bet you like when they show that time jump, Cora's gonna be like 7 months pregnant. And have swollen feet.
Stop that pregnancy stuff. I'm telling you, don't do it.
Eating bread sandwiches and shit. Right. She gonna be pregnant, man. I'm telling you, she gonna have gunners. She gonna have gunners.
You said she gonna have wheat bread.
Yeah, she gonna have wheat bread. I'm telling you, she gonna have Gunner's baby. I'm telling you, eating wheat bread sandwiches every day and drinking water.
Lord have mercy, don't start this.
She gonna be in that village, pregnant, drinking water, minding her business. Watch.
Or they might do an overtime jump, and she's already delivered the baby.
Oh, there you go. Yeah, because she's got a bite.
And then the baby's like just
a princess or something.
And then they put those nemesis hands on the baby.
Oh, well, you know what? And they could use what's it? Issa. They could Isa, whatever it is. I think Issa. They could use because she's some kind of life force, so they might use her power to bring back Nemesis. That would be cool. Well, I would like to see.
Oh yeah, she's a healer.
They could heal her and bring her back if they save her body. If they don't bury it. Did they bury the body? I don't think they buried her body. Yeah, they didn't bury it.
You didn't see them
bury
in
the fire.
But
there was definitely a fire.
Well, there was a fire.
Oh no, you're right. They did some kind of ceremony at the end. No, you're right. I think they did a ceremony. Yeah,
but it's possible though that.
But the fire doesn't mean that they burned the body though.
They might have cremated the body though. If they cremated it, it's a wrap. If they burned our body.
Yeah, it's a wrap for them, y'all.
Yeah, it's a wrap, buddy. Yeah, they might bring Charlie Hunnam back though, because they didn't bring him back in this movie. He was in the first one. Charlie Hunnam.
Yeah, he'll probably be in the third.
He might be in the third one. That would be cool.
Redeem himself or something.
Mm-hmm.
But all right, let me get Casey Fred in there. What scenes and performances stuck out to you?
I gotta comb over everything because feel like being last. Everybody said everything. But I will say.
Now there's one more in there you can name.
Well, the part. Huh?
I said, if you recap on the ones you said at the beginning, I thought those were really good.
Here's something that really kind of stuck out with me was from the first movie. There was a young soldier that stuck his neck out for the little girl that they was trying to rape.
Oh yeah, you're right.
So, and what I thought was interesting is we knew he liked her. You know what I'm saying? And he was willing to risk his life because I really thought they was going, either kill him or definitely discipline him while they was going to rape her or whatever. And so she survives that. And then when it comes to the next movie, you see those two together. And what does he do to show his love? He's putting on the soldier uniform and getting back on there, which I thought that was special effects there, using some, I don't know, technology. I thought that was kind of
unique. That was like a you could say like a monitor or like a telemonitor.
He was able to fool them and tell them, oh yes, everything's going good and everything. Mm-hmm. And it wasn't until the real villain was like, man, you down there lying. He with them, you know what I'm saying? He with them and stuff. Yeah. And so I just thought that was interesting because you could see that relationship budding, and it was going to end up being something, which they end up kissing at the end, if I remember correctly. And that, so you saw that little love story kind of bud, and then of course Gunner and Cora, which you knew what was going to happen, and kind of like what you guys all were kind of saying, you kind of saw it happening. But then as you saw it happening, and then the love scene, of course, you also felt like you saw his death, like you knew it was coming. You just didn't know when, because it just seemed like you saw from the last movie that relationship, when she had somebody, it was in battle that all of a sudden her lover ended up dying. And it was the first movie, is the same way in the second one. I almost feel like if something goes down in the third movie, it will end up, instead of being in reverse, somebody maybe loves her and she ends up dying. So, I see a whole bunch of things happening, but I felt like those were the things that kind of stuck out for me. I was also thinking to myself about Nemesis too, because I mean, she cared about kids. She loved kids. I mean, she was willing to sacrifice her life for kids. And I never forget when they saw that, opened up that door, and there she was standing. I just knew it was about to be on. And I just didn't see that coming, as far as her being the one to die. Another thing I thought was interesting is there was a girl in there. So I'm gonna go a different route. I can't remember her name, but in the first movie, she had it reminded me of the Incredibles. She had black all around her eyes or whatever. And in the second movie,
Oh yeah.
it was all crystal clear. Like the first one, she was hiding out and she really looked up to the brother and sister that was the rebels in there. And then she saw who she looked up to. He all of a sudden sacrificed his life and died. And so it was like it taught her, hey, I'm not going to hide behind anything. I'm going to get out there and fight. So then you saw her true self come out in this movie, and there was no her hiding behind the mask type of thing. You saw her and what she really looked like, and she got out there and fight. And I was very proud of her. And then also the sister of the guy that died, because they were brothers and sisters, and they was in this, the rebels against the resistance type of thing. And it was like she came in at the end with her troops and fought along with them too. And I thought that was really cool. And like I said, it just gave me a bunch of flashbacks of a bunch of movies that I've seen, because the end game on the Avengers, I thought that was kind of like the same way, where everybody would come out of nowhere to be able to help and be in the fight against evil. So I thought that was very interesting too. So that was something else that stuck out with me. And then of course, of them saying that, Titus saying that, the little girl is still alive. That was an eye opener. And so that just let you know, okay, so now the journey, we went through 2 movies, but now it feels like the journey is just now really beginning. And so that's where you felt like a Star Wars moment type of thing. You're like, okay, how many movies is there? You just had 2, and they were action. And now he was like, okay, but now the journey begins, and we're getting ready to go find her. And I was just like, wow. But I said to myself, will it be like that one movie that we saw, and she finds out the truth? Hey, last time I saw you, you shot me or you killed me, and so now I'm going to kill you. Because like in that movie, 2 movies back, that girl, when she found out that you killed her dad, she shot the hero, supposedly the hero.
Yeah, she did. She did clip her.
And so I was just thinking to myself, okay, I know this girl's supposed to be healing and she's supposed to be all nice and stuff, but let's remember, Cora did try to kill her. So is she gonna all of a sudden turn, on her? And that's what I'm really curious about. And so yeah, we're supposed to find her, but when we find her, will she be at full strength? And now she's like, no, I didn't need no help. I'm the strongest of all of y'all. So I'm really curious to see how this all going to go down. So I don't know. Very excited about movie 3 whenever it comes out.
All right. Nah, y'all covered a lot of good stuff. So the only thing I'll say, like, I think they had a great cast of like actors and stuff for this type of movie. So I like all the different characters and how they did like go deeper into the development. So I thought that was a pretty good thing. But I'll say like the scene that kind of stuck out to me was the very last section when they was on the ship. You know, the ship's like damn near like crashing and they're still like fighting and stuff. So I like how they did that whole scene play out where they're trying to survive that whole crash, but they're still fighting that guy and stuff. So I thought that was an excellent scene right there. But all right, we'll go ahead and jump into
Wait,
what is it?
We got more scenes.
Huh? Go ahead, Wally.
I don't know if Mason want to go first, but
I just have one. The one scene I had forgotten about was I really liked the scene when Sam presented the fighting group with the flags from the community that they made, and I felt like I just thought that was a really good scene and really brought them as part of a family in the community.
That was a good scene.
Yeah.
All right, Wally.
Yeah, so for me, because I just remember this one. Because y'all were saying there was no other person on the planet that Korg could have actually made it with. But if you think about it, there was actually that one guy, that other guy, the one with the black hair, because he was the other good fighting soldier on there, at least out of the farmers that was actually a little bit that did some decent stuff out there. Because I forgot the moment, but you remember that moment when he was trying to hurry up, climb up because he saw the commander, he was about to go back on the ship, on one of the ships, but he tried to stop him.
I can't remember his name, but yeah.
Yeah, now see, he was gunning for that one. He was about to sort of like, I'm not gonna say he was gonna have a great chance at it, but he almost had a good moment for it. And I'm like, all right, see, that moment right there was pretty solid because he almost could have stopped him. So I'm like, ugh. He just did it brightly, but nonetheless, I forgot what was the other one I was thinking about because there was another one in there. I think I forgot it because I remembered it some visually. But right. Because I'm speaking about the same chick earlier, right? That Casey talked about, right? Because she was actually the main, like when she stopped hiding from the position that she was at, and she started getting on the ground in the water. She was actually the first reason that the first machine got blown up. She didn't took that advance, it would have never been destroyed. At least until the robot got into play. And another key part in the movie that I also liked was this was the most funniest yet the most like backward moment in the whole movie because so when Cora dropped the ship in a hidden position by the waterfall, right in a cave, she positioned that ship right there. Next thing you know, who you end up seeing? The robot. They had a little conversation, dibble dabble, and then the robot's like, "You do know you cannot win, right?" And I'm like, you send that off and you walk away. Next thing you know, oh, here comes the battle. They fight back. They're about to get trashed up. Next thing you know, the second robot comes and you like, okay, you stepping in. I'm like, and then you smash everything out your way. You take all these blaster shots. And then you blow up the machine. I'm like, so how did you know that we were going to lose again? Or, I mean, let's be honest. Other than the fact that they flying up there to that machine to do that explosion, which, tilted the cannon shot. Because if nothing didn't tilt to that definitely would have been over. But, and, that's a little piece of irony. Like, you end up telling her you can't win. Next thing you know, you go out there and go help anyways. I'm like, okay, you know what? If you actually stepped in, maybe you could have saved just a tad bit more lives because you were more fast than the rest of everybody on the field. So, yeah. But I think, I'm gonna keep it on there because that's the only ones I can remember so far. Go ahead.
All right. So we'll jump into the last one. So if you were the director or producer of this movie, what would you change or do differently? So I'll start with you, KC Fred.
Actually, I'm not for sure if I would really change much because one thing, just the way the first movie guides you into the second movie, and then at the very end of the second movie, you find out now they're getting ready to take another journey. And then I did. I don't think. To be honest with you, I don't think I would really change much at all. I would love to be able to, since it reminds me so much of the DC comics and the way things were going. It would be kind of cool if they would show like a little clip of what to come, kind of like what you expect, you know. Um, like maybe if they would have had that girl, and so we're going to look for her, and then you see a scene of her face somewhere or another planet or another dimension, wherever they're supposed to go. I just thought that would have been kind of cool to kind of catch everybody's attention. But as far as the movie as a whole, I wouldn't change anything pretty much what was, because it had a lot of action, and that's what kept it going, and it didn't feel like it was as long as it was. So
All right. CLS, would you change anything or keep it the same?
Keep it the same.
All right.
I mean,
all right.
it flowed like the story. It flowed. It was pretty smooth the way it flowed. So,
All right.
what
Wally, would you change anything or kind of keep it the same? I think you're on mute, Wally.
I keep forgetting about that. But would I change anything? I think the only thing for me that I probably would change here and there, this time around, I do truly hope that the general was dead. I think they just collect his memories. I ain't gonna lie, like I just think like they should have just, but you know, it is what it is. But I'm not really gonna wish on that. I mean, this time around, he's cut off, so I don't care. It's all good. But because I think honestly, because let's be honest, there is no one really there to replace him. So to keep him around for the second movie, it was common sense to keep him around, because who else was bigger and badder than him that's willing to go and do this? Because let's be honest, the moment he found out about that tunnel, he went down there and started slicing everyone down. I'm like, who else could do that? Who else could do that? No.
Yeah. I was hoping one of them farmers was gonna shoot his ass too, but they didn't. But
Man, that's what I'm saying. Like, okay, so I'm like, yeah, this ain't gonna be it. So I'm like, all right, you know what? Let's call that a case. Let's see, what other one was there? I honestly, because I do remember they had like more robots at the beginning of the first movie. I would thought, because I don't know where the robots are in this movie, other than the one that that's different than the rest. I thought that somewhere around the line, like they would have to, like, if they can program them to actually do something, that would have been another added point. But what else would there be? Other than that, I think that would be the last case in point, because I think anything else, most of it would have just been like future tense. I mean, yeah, like what Fred said earlier, like the moment you hear Titus says she's still alive, and then it's like, okay, we're going to the end credit scenes, and it's like right at the end credit, we get a little glimpse of what's going on the other side, and it's like, oh, Commander, Lord, whatever you want to call him, I don't care, but Lord, our general has fallen, and then whoop send that message, and then he's like, you may go now. And then it's like he goes into the secret room, and we see the little girl, and then like she's all grown up somewhere, all this other stuff, and it's like, okay, that would be interesting.
Yeah, that would have been good change. All right, Manic Genius, would you change anything or keep it the same?
Even though I get pushed back on the storyline being predictable, I enjoyed it. I enjoyed the movie overall. So the only thing I would change would have been switching out Nemesis with Tariq. Like I would have had Nemesis going out there and like actually putting in work, because that would make more sense. Like she was very tactical and like slicing people and actually like putting people down, versus like that one-on-one fighting scene would have been actually better suited for Tariq, because he's using axes that are just regular pieces of metal. So it's just like I could see him taking out 4 or 5 guys and then losing in the end, just because there's nothing really special about him. So like Shorty has like the metal arms and stuff like that. Like, yeah, she's blocking bullets, like so she can, even from a far range, like she's still effective. Like Tariq ain't block a single bullet with those cheap axes. Like, so it's just like he definitely should have died.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, his story wasn't even good. He was like, they didn't kill the right person. So I would have just switched those two roles out. But yeah, other than that, that's the only change I would have made.
All
Can I add on to that?
I agree. I agree with that one too.
Yeah, I mean, cause look, I ain't gonna lie, because at first I'm thinking to myself with Tariq, I didn't think he really needed to die, but at the same time, it's like, well, but on the battlefield, he really, I mean, yeah, because the axes really wasn't like piercing and doing blood in that case. But I think, yeah, I mean, if there had to be a substitute, yeah, I think he would be the option to get left off and murked. Yeah. Because I mean, when you're on an open battlefield, you could have been sniped off like at the wrong time. Someone wasn't paying attention. You probably was in that one moment for gasping for air. Next thing you know, you get shot in the back or something if you weren't paying attention. So I think he could have fallen off. I think the only sad problem is with the simple fact that Nexus not staying alive is the simple fact that, well, because look what she had to defend, right? And I think that sad part, because like connecting that life of knowing she's defending like little kids and then older folks, and it's like you're taking on these soldiers. It's like, okay, you would at least hope there'll be like one more other person right there to stick it, and then be like to just help balance it out a little bit. Which sadly enough, that wasn't the case. But because my thing is, yeah, I ain't gonna lie, I didn't really like Nexus, falling off either, especially since her weaponry was actually special versus just some basic, gun shoots or some, axe. Because let's be honest, like her weapons were literally special until this second movie when we start seeing other generals have like other swords as well. So I'm like, okay, you know what? Let's be honest here. You should have stayed alive. The other dude was better off. As I mean, granted, most of them did die in that movie, anyways. So it's like pick and choose. But yeah, I mean, nonetheless, I think her character would have been better off staying alive. But then again, yeah,
I don't think so, man. She was over 40. Robotic arms.
I mean, you can say over 40, but the thing is, when you think about it, her arms was keeping her in bound to the whole battle. The only problem is the simple fact that she had to face so much guys to the point that you can't be that fast and technical with it. So it's like, as far as her basic body, like think about her. As far as her basic body, that's one thing. But then when you think about the arm movement, and then at that, how much people got to face, and then how good these guys are on the technical battlefield of the swords. Because think about it, they technically had guns, then they had to switch it up, and it's like, okay, we're going face-to-face battle, let's switch it up to the swords. And I'm like, okay, at this point, you just had to be like, yeah, this was a little bit decently out of your class. You're in close range, you don't have really no space, and you're facing 4 guys. Yeah, you're gonna get screwed eventually.
But I think Tariq, man, I think since he's a prince, and then I think he's gonna like summon all those birds and shit, So I think he's gonna actually do something in the next ones. That's why I mean,
now I will say this with the bird. When you saw his family and the birds coming in, it did bring a resemblance from that first movie, and the fact that he was able to handle that first, mutated bird type of griffin, right? So I'm like, okay, that does add some significance. The only issue is like, well, you didn't have that same bird in the second movie, and then at the same time it's like, well, it's like, where do we go off from here? Because like that means you're constantly going to keep traveling on to different worlds, finding different things. Because I will say this, right? Let's say hypothetically, right? They don't even do a movie. They don't even do the next movie. They just be like, man, screw this. You know what? We're going to pivot. We're going to do a TV show. We're going to do a TV show. They're going to do a little TV show just showing like them traveling world to world to world, gathering things because the bigger plot to this is going to just be like huge. So it's like they can't even filter a lot of this like too close in. So they just try to like do a little bit piece by piece by piece. And then next thing it's like, okay, he's gathering all these things, like, okay, he's getting these birds that familiar to his home world, all this other stuff. Everything else, like, all right, cool. But I doubt it because, You have to say to yourself, what other world was close to his that it was in similar proximity? Because at this point, you would think like, okay, all of them just been blown up. It's like it's done deal. It's like most of these animals and special things are just pretty much rarities because you just pick them up and then it's like they just send them off to certain worlds.
I think he's going to go back. Oh, go ahead. I was just going to say, I think he's going to go back to his original world and, get them birds then. Because you remember in the flashback scene, they was all, those birds was like part of the war and stuff. So that's why.
I remembered it. No, I remembered it. My only thing is, it's like, you have to think about it. Because think about this, right? When we saw the first movie, we saw that griffin there on that guy's planet, which, funny enough, he was also there as a, potential slave because he has to owe the debt, whatever, however, right? But my thing is, so he's familiar with that, so that's why he was able to ride it and do everything he had to do with it. But my only problem is, if you end up having a war there, and the planet is just vaporized, because in my honest belief, I would think they would have probably been in space and they just vaporized the whole planet. I mean, that's just my opinion.
Yeah, that's a good point. But all right, let me get amazing real quick. What changes would you just keep it the same?
I also would have liked Nemesis to survive this go around.
Y'all tripping.
And although I do like, is it Turok's character?
Yeah.
If I had to pick somebody, I suppose it would be him. But otherwise, yeah, that would have been really probably the only change.
Yeah, for me, I would have kept the movie the same because I think, with a part 3, I don't think you could have changed too much. So I think it flows pretty good. But all right, let's go to the next one. So would you keep your score, change it, go up or down? So I'll start with you, Amazing. You going to keep yours the same? Or are you going up or down?
I'll keep mine 7.8.
All right, Casey, Fred.
I'm staying with 8.
CLS.
8.
My man, Wally.
Yeah, okay, so now that I think about this whole movie and everything else, let me see.
Peer pressure.
No, not really, not peer pressure. No, because like I said at the beginning, I just start with an 8. I didn't really have a solid answer to it, so I had to really think about it. But honestly, no, I can actually give this an 8.5.
Oh,
I mean, because when we're talking about from the last one to this one, you can definitely tell like this action was definitely more higher and more impactful than it was the first one.
It was.
So I can definitely give this an 8.5.
That's what I'm talking about, Wally.
Yeah,
all right, the Manic Genius. You staying the same? Or are you going up or down?
I'm staying the exact same.
All right. I'm gonna keep my 8.5, but shout out to Wally for coming up and witnessing greatness in this movie.
Oh, here we go.
Redeeming himself from that last.
Don't start.
Easily influenced.
Yeah, y'all have me nervous, man. I'm like, if they give this below
no, there was definitely
7, I was like, I'm quitting. Y'all all was in like classic territories last weekend. Y'all was all teary-eyed, even talking about the movie. Manic was like, oh man, Tom Hanks, he's just he sent me like some text, like he's like, can you read this like poetry about Tom Hanks? I was like, hell no. I'll read your score and that's it. He was like, he's just such a significant actor in our. I was like, enough. Give me your score.
He told you Tom Hanks was a national treasure.
Yeah, he was like, he just touched my heart in this movie. The way he just puts the scripts together, and
he is.
I give him 2 thumbs up.
Tom Hanks is great.
It's like Jesus Christ. He was using all those like adjectives and shit.
Mm-hmm.
But all right, man, we'll go ahead and close this one out. So, any parting words from anybody? All right, well, keep sending us movie recommendations, and we'll keep on reviewing them. But all right, we're definitely gonna have to do part 3 unless that dude lives, the one with the higher type. That dude kind of cut up too, man. He kind of jacked up.
He did.
But all right, then we out of here. Peace, y'all.
0% body fat.
Yeah, my man. He's sleeping in a sit up position. He be like, but all right, y'all, we out of here. Peace.